Hi students, in this video I will teach you how to compute simple interest and maturity value for months and years using the exact and ordinary method. Good luck! On your formula sheet you can find the simple interest formulas right here. The principal discussed is the amount of money you originally borrow or originally invest. When you borrow money, you have to pay interest, and when you invest or deposit money into an account, then you receive interest. To calculate the simple interest, we use the simple interest formula. Simple interest equals the principal times the rate, which is stated as a percent, times time, which always must be given in years. If the time is not given in years, you will have to convert to years. Then the maturity value is the value at the end of the loan or at the end of the investment. Maturity value is MV or S equals principal, the original amount, plus the interest. And again, the interest is the cost of borrowing or the cost of using money. Let's take a look at example 1. Hope Slater, a young attorney, rented an office in a professional building. Since Hope recently graduated from law school, she was short of cash. To purchase office furniture for her new office, Hope went to the bank and borrowed $40,000 for 3 years at a 4% annual interest rate. Interest expenses is the cost of borrowing money. So we know the principal is $40,000 and the interest rate is 3%, which means 0.03. Now the time is 3 years. Since this is already in years, there's no issue. In question A, they ask how much interest did Hope have to pay? So we follow the formula interest equals principal times rate times time. Now fill out the principal, 40,000, the rate 0.03, and the time 3 years. So the interest that Hope has to pay back to her bank is $4,800. Question B asks, what is the maturity value? So maturity value is formula 2, principal plus interest. The principal, the original amount of money that she borrowed was $40,000 plus the interest that she has to pay back to the bank is $4,800. So together she has to pay the bank back $44,800. In our next example, we have Ahmed who borrowed 4,800 dirham in order to buy a new laptop. So we know the principal is 4,800. Now the interest rate is 3.5%, so 0.035. The time is 5 months. Now our time in our formula is always given in years. So let's do a quick recall. How do we convert from months to years? Let's think of 6 months. 6 months would be half a year, and that would be easy for us to figure out. So half a year. Half a year is the same thing as 1/2 years. Now how do we go from 6 months to half a year? So we would do divide by 12. Yeah, so 6 divided by 12 would give us 1/2. So in our example, we have 5 months. So we do the same thing. We'll divide by 12 and then we'll get something less than half a year. Yeah, whatever this is equal to, it doesn't matter. In my formula, I can just fill out 5/12. So in our first part, we have to find the interest. The interest is the first formula on our formula sheet. The principal, 4,800, times the rate, 0.035, times time, and I will just fill out 5 divided by 12. And that's very important that you don't fill out 5. If you fill out 5, then you say 5 years. We don't even have a full year. This number will be 0 point something. Yeah, you plug this in your calculator and you get 70. Our next question, what was the total amount Ahmed had to pay back? So really this question is asking for formula 2. So the principal, 4,800, plus the interest was 70 dirham. So you end up paying back the original amount, 4,870 more, so 4,870 dirham. In our next example, Mariam is investing 3,000 dirham, so the principal is 3,000 at an interest rate of 0.02 or 2% for 20 weeks. Now, remember that there are 52 weeks in 1 year. So remember the time, we have to put the time in years. So we have 20 weeks and you have to divide by 52. It's important that you don't just fill out 20. If you fill out 20, then you say that there's 20 years worth of investments. Now there's only 20 weeks, so divide by 52. For question A, it's important to notice that Mariam will receive this interest because she makes an investment into a bank account, so she will earn this interest. Same formula, formula 1, principal times rate times time, so 3,000 times the rate 2% times the time. Again, make sure that you fill out 20 divide by 52 to convert to years. You cannot fill out 20 because then you say it's 20 years. Okay, Mariam earns 23.07 dirham. The second question asks the total amount in her account at the end. So this is asking for the maturity value, or S. So 3,000 plus what she earns, 23.03. So in the end, she will have 3,023.07 into her account. When we have to convert the time from days to years, there are two methods. The US Federal Reserve Banks and the federal government use the exact interest method by calculating 365 days a year. So we have to divide by 365 to find the time in years. Since banks commonly use the ordinary interest method, it is known as the banker's rule. Then we divide by 360 to convert the days into years. Let's take a look at an example where we have to convert the time from days to years. So here we have Joe Bench, who borrows 50,000 US dollars at a simple interest rate of 5%. Now the interest and money owed are due to be paid on July 6th. Joe started borrowing this money on March 4th, and on July 6th the money is owed. So now we are going to look at our formula sheet. So from March 4th is the 63rd day of the year. And then July 6th is 187th day of the year. So how many days have passed? From 63 to 187 is 124 days. So we already know that 124 days, but now we have to convert the time to years. Since it's asked to do the exact interest method, we know that there's exactly 365 days a year. So we divide by 365 to convert from days to years. For question A, how much interest does Joe have to pay? Joe has to pay the interest because he borrows money. So the cost of the interest is for Joe. The formula, principal times rate times time. And again, make sure that you don't fill out 124 because that would mean that he borrows the money for 124 years. Joe has to pay back $849.32. Question B asks how much money he has to pay back completely. So he has to pay back 50,000 dirham and the interest. So in total, $50,849.32. In question 5, Joe will have ordinary interest method. So instead of dividing by 365, we have to divide by 360 because we have ordinary interest method. So our formulas will look very similar. We've got 50,000 times 0.05 and now times 124 divided by 360. That will give us our interest. And then to find our maturity value, we add the principal and the interest, so we get $50,861.11 US. Thank you for watching the flipped classroom video, and good luck on your flipped classroom quiz.